All right, so welcome to Knowing Your Town. I'm Danielle Blaze, and my guest today is Heather from the library. So welcome, Heather. It's so good to have you here.
Hi, Danielle. Thank you for having me.
I am a huge fan of the library. And I know that there's people in town who haven't been to the library, and I know because I've met them. So for people who haven't been to the library, can you tell us who you are and what your role is there?
Yeah, so I'm Heather Brody Perry, and I grew up here in Ashby, and then I came back after being away for a while, and now I'm the director of the library, and I've been a librarian for about 35 years, and I love being a librarian. I love answering questions, and I love helping people find the information that they need. And so I'd love it if you'd come to the library and talk to me. And I know that you would be able to find something interesting at our library, even if you don't think of yourself as a library person. The library has things that you might be surprised at our library. So if you haven't been there in a while, come on in and say hello to me.
What kinds of things are at the library that you think people would be surprised to find there?
So our library has a tool library. It has a 3D printer. It has what I call the upcycling room, but all the kids call the free room. And it has what people bring to the library that they no longer love, and it still has a useful life, so they want to pass it on to somebody else. And we got a grant from the Department of Environmental Protection to keep things out of the landfills. So it's a little bit like what they, at the dump, what I used to call the dump when I was a child, now the recycling center, has the swap shop.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit like that, but more for things that really should be indoors. So it has clothing and books and baby toys and all sorts of things, the kind of things that you bought at Amazon but you can't really return. All sorts of things.
To add to that.
Yeah, lots of things that you bought and then you realized it was a bad idea.
Yeah.
But it's still really useful. So people bring those kinds of things in and you can come and take them. We have a food pantry. We have all sorts of tools. We have cake pans and knitting supplies and sewing machines and nail guns and a planer and carpet cleaners and a jack and all sorts of hand tools, many things. And if we don't have the tool that you're interested in, you can let us know and we can get some more tools. We have hedge clippers, all sorts of things.
Yeah, so these are things that, like, if somebody needs a tool like that, for one project,
right,
they don't need to buy it themselves. They could check it out at the library and bring it back.
Right, exactly. Like I always say, you only need a post hole digger when you need to put in a post. You don't actually need to own a post hole digger.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that we have at the library. Something that you need for one job, but you don't really need to own it.
Yeah.
And you might not know somebody that you could borrow that from, so you can borrow it from the library. We also have like tables and chairs, so if you're having extra company for a holiday, you could borrow folding chairs and a table. We have tents and other sorts of things that, like if you're having company over and you want to, have extra seating for a holiday or a party. We had people who had a wedding in their backyard, so they had stuff to like put their relatives in the backyard.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So tools, 3D printer, free stuff,
Yeah.
craft supplies.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff.
That's a lot more than just books.
Right, more than just books. And everything
Yeah.
is free. So, if you don't want to go and spend money on taking a class at an art museum or taking a class at a college or something like that for basic things, the library is a good place to decide whether or not you like watercolor or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, to give people an idea of like the range of offerings the library has, can you just give us a sample of like, the past couple weeks, what kind of stuff is going on there?
Yeah, we have a little bit of everything. So we had a food class. We made grain bowls. We had a a multi-session class on watercolor nature journaling. We had a multi-session class on painting like wooden 3D decorations. We have an ongoing fiber art series that has been working in different mediums. So people have been working on knitting and crocheting and sewing. We have an ongoing art series that's been going on for several years now, where people work in different mediums. We have concerts that happen usually once a month or so with different music. We have a Bob Dylan person coming up. We have somebody who's doing Paul McCartney coming up. We have a fiddle person coming up. We have a string quartet coming up. So a lot of different music. We have a series for the celebration of the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. So we have a number of different programs celebrating that. We have several book groups. We have a new suspense book group that I call the creepy book group. So it's does sort of psychological thrillers. So if you like sort of a roller coaster book, roller coaster ride on your book, we are just starting that book group. We have a sort of more traditional fiction book group. We have a democracy book group. So
wow, so that's a lot of different kinds of stuff.
Yep.
And it's all free.
Yep, it's all free. We also have children's programming, so we have what we call a Right Start playgroup, which is for the little kids, the crawlers and the walkers, which is a really great program for kind of new parents. It lets little kids kind of meet their first friends, and for parents and caregivers to meet other folks who are going through the same sort of time in their lives, to meet friends and people that they can kind of share experiences with. And that was started by a occupational therapist who could kind of help people know whether or not their kids kind of needed maybe early intervention, or like when parents should worry and when they should kind of relax.
Wow, okay. So there's like a play space for kids in the library.
Yep, and our children's librarian, Rose, has done amazing things lately. We have gotten a lot of grants, and one of our most recent grants, we got a grant to make more spaces to be more welcoming for kids with neurodiversity. So Rose has put in a sensory calming space and a sensory seeking space, and those rooms are just amazing. She's added so many great new sensory toys and a beautiful sensory calming space, and that space has really been super popular. The kids will go in there and like play chess and chill out and just do other sort of more quiet things, because sometimes the library can get there's lots of little humans, so it can get a little bit
a little rowdy.
Yeah.
Wow, cool. So there's a lot of stuff going on at the library. It's free, which is awesome, because there aren't that many places you can go where you don't need to spend money.
Yep, exactly. You can also not rent because it's free, but you can reserve a space in the library. So like last night we had a group that just called and asked if they could have a room for their own personal meeting. So a group in town, they just asked for the room. They got the room, they shut the door, and they had whatever meeting they wanted there. The Historical Society comes every month and has their meeting there. We had a 25th wedding anniversary that the whole family came, and they got it catered, and it was beautiful. We had a prom that was held at the library, which was gorgeous. It was amazing.
Awesome.
So if you need to have an event, you can do it at the library.
Yeah, so in addition to all the things that you offer there, it's also a great space that people can use.
Yep. And the first Friday of every month, we have a free family movie.
That's awesome. For the kids?
Yep. And the whole family, but yeah, it's mostly a family-friendly movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So it sounds like you said for people of all ages, parents, kids, older people, middle people, all the people can come to the library and find something for them.
Yep. from basically birth until, until you're 90 or 100.
Awesome. One more thing I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned right at the beginning that you like to help people answer questions.
Yep.
So like, what kinds of questions can you help? Like, because I have questions sometimes. Like, what kind of questions?
Yeah, answering questions is literally my favorite thing to do. And the harder the question, the better. I love to really get into the research weeds, and I'm really good at it. So if you have really hard questions, I love to sort of dig into things. So I was a college reference librarian for a lot of years, and I know how to like dig for information. So if you have a really hard question, come and ask it. Like, nothing is too hard. So I'm happy to, if you've got research to do, if you need help filling out forms, like if it's a simple question, I'm happy to help with it. But if it's a hard question, I'm happy to help as well. So yeah, anything that you want to know. Like, I once, sort of one of my favorite questions was one of the professors that I worked with, his grandfather had written an article in Germany in the late 30s. And it was published in a Cuban newspaper, and he wanted the microfiche from the Cuban newspaper, and we got the microfilm reel from the Cuban newspaper from the late 1930s.
What?
Mailed to us from Cuba.
What?
And he didn't know the publication date.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so we were able to figure it out through context clues and but we didn't know like title of the article or the date or any of that kind of stuff, and we got it mailed to us from Cuba.
All right, so if you've got the questions, Heather.
Yep.
Heather is happy to help you.
Yes, happy to help you. Yep. And we have, databases. We can get you a book from anywhere in the state. It comes delivery. There's a little bus that drives around the state. So you don't just have access to things that are in Ashby, you have access to things all over the state. So even though we're in a little town, your access is statewide.
Wow, so great. Well, thank you so much for coming and talking to us about the library today.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, and I hope this helps people learn more about it and feel more comfortable to just show up and ask Heather a question if you have any more.
Yep, you're always welcome.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.